Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely.
So it's this English learning podcast called Daily Money Briefing.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
It's actually pretty cool. You get the
Yeah.
financial news and kind of a language lesson all in one.
Oh, I like that. Sort of killing two birds with one stone.
Exactly. Today we're diving into South Korea's economy, looking at some recent reports covering growth, housing, and jobs.
That's right. And these things, they aren't separate issues. They're definitely connected, painting a picture of what's happening overall.
Absolutely. Our mission here is simple. Pull out the crucial takeaways, give you the context without getting lost in the weeds.
Let's get straight to it then.
Okay, first up, those growth forecasts. The Korea Development Institute, KDI, they've slashed their 2025 GDP growth prediction quite significantly.
Yeah, they cut it basically in half, down from 1.6% to just 0.8%. That's a pretty big adjustment.
And isn't this the first time a major Korean think tank has actually predicted growth below 1%?
It is, and that's significant. When forecasts dip that low, it really raises recession fears. It makes people nervous.
What's the breakdown? Is it bleak all year?
Well, they see the first half of 2025 being particularly slow, just 0.3% growth. The second half picks up a little, maybe 1.3%.
So a very sluggish start. And why the downgrade? What are they pointing to?
It's a mix. External shocks, like potential U.S. tariffs, are part of it, but also internal things like consumer demand just weakening. People seem hesitant to spend.
And it sounds like KDI isn't alone in this view.
No, definitely not. Their projection actually lines up pretty well with what several global investment banks are predicting. So there's a kind of consensus forming, which underscores the seriousness.
Okay, let's pivot to housing. How are these economic jitters maybe affecting where people live, especially around Seoul?
We're seeing a really interesting trend. There's booming demand for smaller apartments, specifically those under 60 square meters.
Booming how? Lots of people trying to buy them.
Exactly. The competition rate, basically, how many people apply for each available unit, hit 14.2 to 1 in the first few months of this year.
Wow, 14 applicants for every small apartment.
Yeah, and that's actually the second year in a row it's been in double digits. Last year was even higher, around 39 to 1. So the demand is really sustained.
But what about bigger places, mid-sized apartments?
That's where the story changes quite dramatically. For mid-sized units, 60 to 85 square meters, the competition rate fell sharply. Last year it was 15 to 1. This year, only 5.1 to 1.
A huge drop, from 15 down to 5.
Still single-digit competition and slightly lower than last year, too.
So what's driving this? Is it just people wanting smaller homes?
It really points strongly towards affordability concerns. Property prices have been rising, and combined with those economic growth worries we just talked about.
People are maybe getting cautious, looking for something cheaper.
Precisely. Smaller apartments are just more accessible financially. It's either an entry point for some, or perhaps a necessary downsize for others feeling the squeeze.
Makes sense. Okay, finally, let's touch on employment, particularly in manufacturing and construction. What are the reports saying there?
It's not great news, unfortunately. Manufacturing jobs took a significant hit in April, down 124,000 compared to the previous year. That's about a 2.7% drop.
124,000 jobs gone in a year from just that sector. That sounds like a lot.
It is. And what's maybe more concerning is the trend. This marks the 10th month in a row of job losses in manufacturing.
10th month straight. Wow.
Yeah, and this latest drop is actually the steepest decline since February 2019. We're essentially back to the kind of employment levels in manufacturing that we saw during the pandemic period.
That's a stark comparison. And construction is weakening too.
Yes, the job market there is also showing signs of weakness alongside manufacturing.
And together, those two sectors are, what, a pretty big chunk of the economy?
Very big chunk, close to a third, actually. So when both are shedding jobs, it has a real potential to drag on the wider economy.
Are there other related concerns? Like, who is losing these jobs?
One worrying aspect is the impact on younger workers. Employment among those aged 15 to 29 has now been declining for 12 straight months. A full year.
A whole year of decline for youth employment. That has longer-term implications, surely.
Absolutely. It affects career starts, future skills development, potential immigration, lots of knock-on effects.
Okay, so let's try to bring this all together. We've got lower growth forecasts, below that symbolic 1% mark.
A housing market shifting clearly towards smaller, more affordable units.
And significant persistent job losses in key sectors like manufacturing and construction, hitting young people too.
Exactly. They're not isolated data points. These trends feel very interconnected, suggesting South Korea might be facing some, economic headwinds and a period of adjustment.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. With these trends converging slower growth, housing shifts driven by affordability, key job sectors contracting, how might this reshape South Korea's economic and maybe even social landscape in the next few years? What less obvious consequences might ripple out from all this? Something for you to consider.
Beyond these trends could suddenly shift the entire picture again. Something to keep in mind as we watch things unfold.
That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.